Hey, you kiddos, time for the daily bread and election day. Let's hear today's tract. Daily Tract 200, 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 15 through 17. Now the servant of the man of God, arising at first light, went out and saw the army all around the city with horses and chariots, and he reported it to him, saying, Alas, 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 my lord, what shall we do? But he responded, Do not be afraid, for there are more with us than with them. And when Elijah had prayed, he said, O Lord, open the eyes of this one, so that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the servant, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. Kids, today is election day in the United States of America. If you think that forces of good and evil are not at work in our country, you're sadly mistaken. An election is your time to speak. It's time for you to stand up for God. It's time for you to stand up for your beliefs. I told you kids that because of our beliefs, we're not the majority. We do not follow what the world has to offer. We do not follow those who put the government and their political party above God. We follow God. And it can seem very lonely and discouraging and helpless when the candidate who stands up for God and our beliefs is constantly ridiculed, mocked, abused, and is under relentless attack by forces of darkness, by people who believe in the world and not in God. Do not be defeated in spirit, because God is on our side. And when you feel alone and threatened and attacked for your beliefs, remember God and His army is with us. Remember, the forces of good and evil are spiritual, and we can't see them. But God and His army are there, and regardless of outcome in this election, God's will prevail. And consider today's passage, where Elijah was under attack by the king of Syria, who had a huge army that surrounded him. His servant was freaking out. He's like, Elisha, they're going to crush us. And Elisha then prayed to God to let the servant see God's army protecting them. And the servant then seen an entire mountain full of God's horses and chariots protecting them. So in this election, remember, God is with those who believe in Him, those who repent and recognize Him as the Creator. He's with those who pray relentlessly. And I and millions more have prayed for our president relentlessly. And God's will has been done in our country for the last 4 years. And may our president prevail with God's allowance to triumph over the evil forces rising against him. And when I say evil, I mean evil. People have been hidden from the truth of God and will stop at nothing to silence us. People who think that their works will save the planet, and their works will save humanity, not God's works. And people who think that sin is no longer relevant, so there's no need to repent. People who don't believe in absolutes, truths. But God will prevail in the end. Do not despair. Trust in Him. God foretells the future, and the world does not win the battle. God does. God bless. I love you.